test something here. Just want to take a look at a couple of settings in the, all right, we should be good. I feel like something's off. Not performance-wise, everything feels good, but something seems off to me. I don't know what it is. My resolution's right. Yeah, actually. Actually, it feels pretty good. Yeah, it seems I'm only missing my target frame rate when I'm panning around or switching cameras, and then it all ends up fine. Yeah, I'm only at 10.7 gigabytes VRAM, and in the P51 around here I was definitely at around 11, 12 gigabytes VRAM. Could be just because I was moving so much faster, but who knows? Actually, I could turn my chat on. And also, let's fix that. And let me get some chat working here. Let's pause this for a second. Might as well test everything while I'm testing. And since I'm streaming, we should get our chat up. Since I'm streaming, we should get our chat up. Since I'm streaming. Okay, turn that off. This to a reasonable size. Alright. I also need a couple other things rocking here. Nope. Right. Nope. Stream. Power toys. And open kneeboard. Not now. All right. Okay, so now we have chat. Hopefully this is working. Alright, it's up on my screen. It's up on that screen. And it's working. Alright, cool. And we should be good. Alright, I'm also on my Discord for any of my Discord followers. If you guys want to jump into the voice chat. I'm just testing out the new beta. And it's pretty good. No complaints so far. I was getting higher VRAM usage yesterday on the previous beta, and today it seems a bit lower. And it's not the DLSS update as well, because that's supposed to lower VRAM usage. I was using the DLSS update yesterday as well, so the change has definitely been made in the sim update beta, and everything is super smooth and nice. I can't complain, especially in this very slow moving helicopter, but I am going 80 knots right now. Well, 70-ish. Yeah. I'm just trying to speed up a little bit. Let's, I want to get a little bit more of the reflection action going, and so I'm going to lower the clouds to few clouds. And then we'll maybe change the time of day. Go a little bit higher in the sky. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this is awesome. Super low, going super fast for a helicopter anyway, or this helicopter, and there is no stuttering whatsoever. I am well within parameters for a smooth flight as far as my stats. I'm at 10.6 gigabytes VRAM and a ton of GPU headroom. Getting a little artifacting on the buildings still, but it's a lot less than it used to be, so that's good. People who use motion reprojection might know what I'm talking about, but motion reprojection on a Windows headset, you get like these wiggly lines sometimes on these buildings when you're up close. Like right there at that building in the center of the screen, there's a little bit of weirdness going on. It doesn't show up on the mirror, but you see it in VR, but it's not so bad. It's a little weird, but it's not so bad. I might jump into a jet in a minute. I just wanted to test this helicopter and in the city, just because yesterday I noticed there was much higher VRAM usage, and today it seems back to what I'm used to it being for the area and for the aircraft. Yeah, it only seems like I lose any frames just when I'm switching cameras, and that's just, you know, for a split second. Kind of like when you're bringing up a menu for changing the weather or something, it kind of just, you know, You get that little slight pause. But outside of that, it's smooth sailing. I'm not really getting any stuttering at all. Even during more drastic maneuvers, it's really smooth. Yeah, I used to remember, well, I remember flying in 2020 and flying around San Francisco in Flight Sim 2020 and using like the first helicopter I had, the Bell, what is it? The Bell, the MASH helicopter. I forget what it is. The Bell, what is it? G49, whatever that was, that Bell helicopter, and it was so stuttery and so choppy and just not a great experience. I mean, it was but you saw the potential in it, and it got slightly better, and then got a lot better, but it never got really, really good in VR. At points, you know, you thought it might be pretty good, but it was never really good. And now flying around in Flight Sim is pretty fucking good in VR. Like, it's not perfect yet, and I don't know if it'll ever be perfect, but it's gotten a hell of a lot better in 2024. Yeah, everything is just so much sharper, clearer, smoother. Less weirdness, less artifacts, less ghosting. It's pretty much, you know, less of everything you hate about VR, and in Microsoft Flight Sim is a lot less these days. A lot less to hate. A lot more enjoying the sim. For me these days, anyway. It's a lot less tinkering. Things seem to just run better. Let me just check some real quick here. Nobody's responding to my messages. Oh well, whatever. Alright, so let's, I'm going to be thinking about maybe a jet to fly. Maybe we'll fly around Sedona or something. Grand Canyon, who knows, but I kind of want to jump into a jet. Maybe an F-35, maybe an F-16. I mean, I don't really fly jets a lot. I just kind of feel like it's a good test for the sim and sim update. It's because they're a little bit more demanding on the sim and on your hardware. A little bit. I mean, it depends on the jet, but they're generally more demanding than helicopters and warbirds, for sure. And I haven't flown an F-35 in a while. Yeah, everything looks really good. You know, the reflections off the bridge there still need work, but... And I'm on ultra reflections right now. It really should look a lot better than that. ultra ray march reflections and 384 on the cube map, which is the highest it'll go. So yeah, you have to change altitude for that reflection to start looking okay. So it's just something they got to work on, but it's not too bad. Yeah, no stuttering. This is great. The real test, though, is multiplayer when you're flying around in a group, and that's when you really can test your system. I got a miss frame right there, just for a second. Barely even noticed it, and then I looked down and I saw the little red marker on my frame counter, which you guys can't see, but I'm running a frame counter in VR right now, and it checks my CPU headroom, GPU headroom, and VRAM usage, and also frame timing as well. And I also haven't streamed Microsoft Flight Sim in a while. I've been doing a lot of single-player gaming, adventure gaming, Indiana Jones, and The Great Circle, which was super fun. Masterpiece, arguably. I think it's a really, really good game. A lot of people and a lot of reviewers have called it a masterpiece. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I think it's a really, really good game, though. Super fun. Does a great respect to Indiana Jones and the franchise and fan service. There's a lot of that. As far as the game is concerned, though, I don't believe it's a masterpiece. I think they did a fantastic job. But, yeah. I don't know about masterpiece. Like, masterpiece means, like kind of changing the game and reinventing certain things, and what it does well, but it's not, it's not breaking any new ground as far as video gaming is concerned. It's a great story. It's really well done and well produced and well acted. And the voice actors all did a fantastic job, but masterpiece, maybe not so much a masterpiece, but an excellent game. Also, The Last of Us 2. See, that's kind of a masterpiece. It built upon the first game. It built upon the story. The mechanics are spot on. The animations are fantastic. The tech, the game's gorgeous, and also it plays really well, and it does what it does at the top of its game, pretty much. Like it's brutal. It runs well. It's beautiful. It's got a great story. I mean, that's pretty much hits all the marks. It's not perfect, of course. I don't think anything is, but ew, that guy's got the starship. I don't have it, so I can't see it, but I've been seeing a lot of YouTube videos on it. Alright, let's land this fucking thing and fly something a little bit more. And I'm getting a little sick of the Bay Area. I've been testing the Bay for 2 days now. I've been messing with some settings and the new DLSS and whatnot, and everything's running well. So especially now, the new beta seems to have calmed down my VRAM issue, and probably DLSS as well is now working right with the VRAM. But yeah, everything's a lot sharper on the ground once I figured out my dynamic settings. I used to get way too blurry ground textures even when I was at low altitude, and now they're much sharper, much, and without sacrificing any performance at all. Yeah, super smooth flight. Lost a frame twice during this flight, right by the Golden Gate Bridge, which, you know, was no big deal whatsoever. But this whole flight has been pretty perfect as far as frame rates and performance. All right, let's do a little something different here. I've got the updated Corsair that we can fly around as well. No, that's fine. But I kind of just want to fly my F-86. There it is. And we'll do Sedona in the F-86. Do this guy. I like this guy. Let's do a cold and dark start there, because we can cold and dark the F-86. It's one of the few planes that I've imported from 2020 that I can cold and dark start, and everything flies, and it flies perfectly well. Like a lot of the other planes that work well, they can't cold and dark, but they fly well. This one does everything perfectly and has not needed any updating. So that's good, right? I'm gonna have chat off the screen for a minute just while I do all this. Yeah, you can, like, even this loading screen is a lot sharper now, you know? It used to be super low res, and now it's just pretty sharp for the loading screen. Do a little walk around. Stick your head in here. Service this aircraft with grade JP4 fuel. Alright. Everything's looking good. Alright, so every time I jump into the cockpit I have to do this. This is the one thing it doesn't save is the pilot seat. There we go. And maybe just a little bit further. Alright, let's start her up. Let's just open this for now. And that's pretty much it for starting the plane. I mean, this is like a super easy startup. You got your APU, and yeah, it's just engine starting. Frame rate's good. 11.4, 11.2 gigabytes VRAM. Alright, that's not too bad. But I was flying around in the helicopter with like 10 gigabytes VRAM usage, 9.9, 10 gigabytes, 10.5 maybe. Never really hit 11 gigs. Now I'm at 10.7 inside the cockpit. Okay, we should be good with the external power. Click the battery on. Flash those lights. Alright, we should be good to go. Got my brakes on. Park brake is off. Increase in power. Let's see if we can find the runway here. Are we just faced right behind it? Yeah. Alright, a little tiny little chug on the taxi so far, but now it's smooth again. 9% GPU headroom, 11% now. So that's a little low. Target missed. Target missed. So pretty low GPU headroom here on the taxi. It's getting better. Alright, now it's good. Now I'm at 10.8 gigabytes VRAM. Gigabytes VRAM on the dot, 78%, 14% GPU headroom. And moving my head around will definitely lose frames right here on the taxi. I'm not all that concerned about the performance here on at the airport, but it does feel a lot better when you're getting smooth performance at the airport, but it's not horrible. But there's definitely a little chug here and there. Alright, let's get ready to fly here. Let's close this sucker. Let's get my trim right. Alright, we can get you guys back. Alright, target missed. We're back at 30 frames a second. Yeah, the airport gives a little bit of chug, just a little bit. Alright, we're up. Positive rate. Gear up. And now everything is back to where it should be as far as GPU and CPU headroom, and VRAM is up a little bit, 11.2, 11.3. But I have over 20% GPU headroom, so that's good. And everything is super smooth. And once again, for anybody watching, we're on the new beta. Actually, I'm just gonna attempt to fix something here. Just give me 1 second. There we go. That's better. Yeah, really smooth. Just a tiny little bit of chug. Tiniest little bit there, but it was fine. Probably just turn off my landing lights, huh? I expect to drop a frame or two right here. Yep. Not too bad though, not too bad. I mean, everything has been super smooth. Whoa, what is happening? Okay. That's looking weird. Okay, let's just turn that off. That's not working right. And also can't, oh, we can move this again. Sweet. There we go. Let's see, where do I want to go? So a lot of people have problems resizing this thing. I just do this. I just stick my head way forward, and then if I just want to have it up and not be blocking everything, and then I could have it up if I want. I don't really want it up, but if you just want to use it for some quick navigation or something like that, you can do that. And now when I bring it up, it should just be right there now. Yeah, so I don't have to resize it or anything later. Get rid of that. So FCR isn't really working all that well. Not with this plane anyway. See how fast we can get this thing going. Almost 550 knots. Almost. Although we didn't have full thrust going on either, but alright, now we got full thrust going. Hmm. Looks like my compass doesn't work. That's weird. Alright, Vegas is that way. Might as well fly to Vegas. It shouldn't be too long of a flight. But we also know that Vegas performs kind of crappy. For me, anyway. So we'll check it out. Maybe it's gotten a little bit better. I would like to stay on a heading, but I can't really use my compass. Yeah, I should be running into Vegas any time now anyway, so, or at least start seeing some identifying markers. Yeah, what is happening? So that's just satellite imagery with like no procedural. Oh yeah, I guess there's a couple little procedural buildings they put in there. Maybe? Yeah, a couple of them. Whoa. Tiny. Was heading straight down at full throttle. Oh, we made it. And die. Just trying to decide if the satellite imagery just isn't very sharp just because the satellite imagery, it just isn't very sharp around here. And, but I think everything's working as it should. There it is. It just popped up, that ball, the Vegas sphere. Starting to get some frame inconsistency. Dropped a frame there for a second. Loading in all this new stuff. Not looking great, but Vegas has been hit or miss for me, depending on what I'm flying. I don't really come here very often, but every now and again. Sometimes it's pretty good, and sometimes it's just garbage. It just does not play well, but at the very least, ground textures are still looking sharp. At this altitude, it's pretty good. They're not blurry, which is what's most important. I don't like blurriness. Who does, right? Get you guys back. Alright, so still not so bad, not so bad. It'll get pretty bad, I'm sure, once we get closer to the buildings. So far, so good. Only 11.2 gigabytes so far. Ooh. Wow. That was a huge, huge hiccup. Pause, even. It was just straight up a pause. But now it seems okay. A little chug. Just a little bit. And not super smooth when rolling. Alright, that's smooth. But better. Oh yeah, this is a lot better than I expected it. Outside of that one first huge chug when passing by, this is a lot better than what it had been in Sim Update 2 for me. And I did take out the scenery I had in here. I just wanted to see what it looked like with the base scenery, and it's all photogrammetry for the most part, it looks like, except for the sphere and maybe one or two other things, but it just looks like photogrammetry. So in that case, let's turn on the lights, or off the lights rather, dependent on what you want to do. Alright, nighttime at Vegas. See what this is all about. Target missed. Alright, there we go. Yeah. Oh yeah, not liking this at all. I am stuttering and at the lowest reprojection rate. Now it's just give me chugs at 23 frames a second. 25, 23. It doesn't want to hit 30. So nighttime in Vegas. That's a good, and all the lights are still overexposed and way too bright. But once you pull away from the city, frame rate's getting better. So, yep, there we go. Now we're at 30. Getting a lot of reflections in the cockpit. We can turn down some of this. Alright, because regular nighttime flying is fine. It's just that it's overly bright Vegas lighting, and also the frame rate drops over there suck. So Vegas still kind of sucks, but during the day it's fine. At night it's when you want to fly at Vegas at night, it's kind of gross. It doesn't look great and the performance sucks. But daytime looks pretty good, and it's not killing your frame rate as much. I mean, I can still maintain mostly 30 frames a second in the city. Yeah, I haven't dropped 10.1 gigs. Just seems like it's that brightness and alright, a little chug right there, just a tiny little bit. But yeah, I can keep my frame rate here during the day, but at night, not so much. Guess we'll put her down at Nellis. That one's Nellis, right? The one that's is it Nellis Air Force Base? Is that the one I'm thinking about? That's right here at Vegas, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably this base has a bunch of stuff in it, so to load in, so you'll probably get a little bit of chug coming in, loading all this stuff. Yeah, just a little bit of chug. It's not bad though. It's got to load in all the jets and everything. And I'm surprised there's nobody playing here right now. It's usually a bunch of jets flying around here and a bunch of people. But then again, I'm in the beta, so maybe they're not in the beta. I didn't notice this racetrack here before. Huh. Wonder what racetrack that is. Las Vegas Raceway, perhaps? I don't know. I'm not a... Looks like a NASCAR raceway, so... I'm not a huge NASCAR guy. I don't know anything about it, honestly. Other than... They race stock cars. And they make a lot of lefts. Yeah, so frame rate's not so bad at Nellis without anybody here, though. Yeah, everything is running well. It's just Vegas doesn't really run that great at night. That's about it. But whatever. Alright, let's slow down here. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of good detail on the ground, which is nice. Nice and smooth on the approach so far. I carry enough speed. I'm pretty much throttle off. There's a little chug now coming down. Yeah, but this airport also as well generally can be a little bit of a FPS killer just because of all these planes that it loads in. And I have, yeah, like a huge chug there. Now we're back at 30 frames a second, but it could chug again easily at any point. But even though I put my airport traffic down to low or none, I still get airport traffic here. Which all that means is, you know, the plane's loading in, so, but maybe this is just default. Alright, it's nice and smooth now. So a little bit, still not perfect in certain areas, but generally speaking, the performance is pretty good in Sim Update 3. Like, pretty good to excellent. I'm not gonna take away points for places that, you know, just generally have always run pretty weirdly. Like, I get weird performance here in Vegas at times, especially at night, still. But prior to this, in Sim Update 2, Vegas even during the day wasn't flyable. So it's better. Alright, so we went from Sedona to Vegas, and now we're gonna go, let's see. Fuck it, we'll fly around New York in a helicopter and see what that's like. And we'll just take off straight from the heliport. Yeah, I know. And what do I want? Take this guy. Put a co-pilot in here. Okay. All right, a little bit of chug when we're spinning around, but now it's evened out here. Seems everything's loaded in. I'm at my target frame rates. Let's get the CFB correct here. Okay. And we're sitting at about 11 gigs VRAM, 78%. Ooh. As soon as I moved my head, I got a huge frame rate drop for a couple of seconds there, and then I'm back up to 30 frames a second now. All right. So not a lot of, I'm not seeing any beta people. Maybe I have my settings wrong, but I saw some beta people earlier. And I'm not seeing anybody, and I'm on the East Coast server. You figure there would be people flying, but whatever. All the bandwidth for me, I guess. So far it's not bad. We're getting good frames, only 10.9 gigabytes VRAM. So that's pretty good. Just a couple little stutters at the very beginning there, but so far so good. What do we have, scattered clouds right now, or few clouds? I think this is few clouds. This might be scattered clouds. Let's find out. Actually, I don't know why I was doing the weather from the main menu. Alright, it's few clouds. Let's go cinematic, and also we'll change the time of day. Or actually, we'll just change the time of day. Early morning here. Alright, I'm still getting a little bit of lag, but that was probably just because I was changing the weather. Alright. It's pretty smooth now. 11.1 gigabytes VRAM. 11.2. Mind you, I am on a 16 gigabyte card, so I'm sitting around 79% VRAM usage right now, which ain't bad for New York, honestly. I mean, I was hitting like 12.5 and shit in San Francisco, but then again, I was in a P51, so it uses a little bit more VRAM, I think, than this thing. The H14, what am I in? No, the H125. So 11.3 gigs VRAM still. Eleven 11.4. Oop, target missed. Yeah, sometimes if I turn my head too quick, it'll, ooh, yeah, that's a little jerky. I'm doing some pretty drastic maneuvers, though. I'm not sort of holding back. I'm trying to make it stutter, and I'm succeeding. Whoa. I have no sound now. What happened? Sound just cut out completely. I can't hear anything. What the? Alright, there was sound there. let's turn off the headphone simulation for right now. And all right, there we go. There's some sound now. That was weird. All right, but all in all, it's not too bad, low and slow in New York City. It has been smoother though, but then again, I've significantly increased some certain graphic settings that I never used to use in 2024, but performance has gotten better, so I've started, you know, clicking certain things up a little higher, and which means, you know, in certain areas you might have to knock things down a bit again. But you know, I like to have set it and forget it settings though that kind of work everywhere, and I think I'm pretty much there though. I think I'm pretty much there with my set it and forget it settings. There might be a little bit of adjustment room in there, but at this point I'm pretty close because everywhere performs pretty damn well these days, except for certain like areas, certain problem cities like LA still is super weird for me. Super weird. But, you know, here, yeah, New York is fine. New York is running well. It's not as smooth as I've had it in the past, but again, like I said, I'm using pretty significantly higher settings than I used to use with 2024. But they've been working really well. Alright, let's get that back and chat back. There we go. Now we're in stream mode. Yeah, so right now I'm at 10.9 gigabytes VRAM, and yeah, it's been pretty good, pretty stable as far as frame rate. A couple of little drops here and there, a couple, but nothing too bad, nothing crazy. I had one big sort of frame drop in the very beginning, and that was about it. After that, it's been pretty stable, even flying low. Yeah, still get some performance drops when you're panning the camera around and such, but you know, normal stuff. Alright, we hit like 11.2 gigabytes of VRAM there for a second, but now it's dropping back down, 10.7. Yeah, I'm moving my head for some reason in New York. Can trigger something. It's always something, you know. But again, I'm not complaining. It's not a bad flight. I'm not having a bad time right now. It's you know, a little bit of that. That's sometimes when I turn my head to the right, it gets a little wonky for some reason. But then again, right over Central Park has always been weird as well. So you gotta take that in consideration if that's always been a thing. It's gotten better though. It's gotten a lot better. Yep, chug there, chug, chug. So right there, I dropped down to like 23 frames a second, which very rarely happens these days, but you barely, I barely even felt it in the headset because motion reprojection kicked in at 23 frames a second, and it was just much smoother. And right there, I dropped it like 28 frames. It's been pretty solidly 30. I can't, except when I'm doing shit like that, you know, like fast altitude changes, moving my head sometimes will trigger it, but it's not too bad. Alright, I'm getting a little tired. I need to get something to eat and jump in the shower, so I'm gonna land her at LaGuardia. It's probably gonna chug there because I've always had issues with this add-on that it's I think it looks good. I think the airport looks good, but it's just too much of a frame hit. But I keep it there. I might take it off someday, but 11.5 gigs. So that's weird. I didn't. Ooh, wow. See, yeah, when I move my head to the right, sometimes. What is that? And it's only been happening here in New York, not like anywhere else. That's weird. Why is it doing that? Yeah, it's like every time I move my head to the right, after a couple of seconds, it'll just lose frames. That's so weird. Alright. This is not going to be a pretty landing. I just want to slap her on the ground. Also, my butt kind of hurts from sitting in this chair for so long. Yeah, it's like I move to the right, it drops a frame, and then it gets back to 30, and then I'll do it again, and it does the exact same thing. So weird. Alright, so yeah, it's not getting really good frame rates anywhere around here at the airport. I'm down at 23 again. Like, I can get this airport running at 30, but it's just, you know, I gotta drop too many quality levels, or I can just take the airport out. I mean, it is an add-on. It definitely is a frame killer, on top of the fact that airports can be frame killers all by themselves, so maybe I'll just switch it back to the default and just save it for later, or see if there's an update for it, because I haven't even checked if there's an update for this airport for 2024. Probably is. Probably a couple. Alright, I'm out of here.